Politician, every regulation currently being proposed by the Committee for Overseas Trade will reduce the trade deficit. Okay, so every regulation that's being proposed by the COT will reduce trade deficit. Our country's trade deficit is so large that it weakens the economy. Therefore, each of the proposed regulations would help the economy. All right, what's our conclusion?
That each of the proposed regulations would help the economy.
Excellent. And then why does this support not guarantee that conclusion?
So we would have to, I guess we would have to assume that reducing the trade deficit would be enough to help the economy, or like there's some relation.
All right. So we're saying, sorry, I was explicitly said while reading it. So every regulation currently being proposed will reduce the trade deficit. So every regulation that's being proposed, we know that they will reduce the trade deficit. And then we say our country's trade deficit is so large that it weakens the economy. So our trade deficit is large, that it weakens the economy. Therefore, each of the proposed regulations would help the economy. Is the economy something that does the economy have to be like gradual, or can it be all in or all out? Is it something that only one thing affects? I don't even know. I don't know enough about the economy to even ask this question in a good
Well,
way.
yeah,
Like,
there's different factors that go into the economy, and there's like different things.
how does the trade deficit weakens the economy?
Yeah.
Does that mean that each of these does that mean that just because these proposed regulations could potentially reduce our trade deficit, that it would actually help our economy?
We don't know that.
And also, like, just because the trade deficit, or just because these proposals potentially could reduce our trade deficit, does that mean that the overarching goodness of these proposals is good?
No, we don't know that.
Could these proposals reduce the trade deficit but still hurt our economy potentially?
Yeah.
That is what I think the issue is. Sorry, it took me a while to get us on the question path, but
So when I read it, I was hung up on where it said every regulation currently proposed, and I was like, well, it's proposed, it's not really passed. I don't know if I was just maybe reading too much into that.
I think you were. That is tricky, but it says like would help the economy. Like I think it would say like if these were passed, it would help.
Okay.
We're not
Okay.
saying that they are for sure going. Like, well,
Okay.
this conclusion is saying like if they came to be, they would help.
Okay.
It's all a conditional though.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
You narrowed it down to C and D, you said?
I narrowed it down
E.
to actually B, D, and E. And I chose E.
So B says takes for granted that the only means of strengthening the economy is reducing the trade deficit. Do we need does do we need the fact that the only means of strengthening the economy is reducing the trade deficit?
No.
No, like it doesn't have to be the only thing. It needs to be enough of a thing, but not the only. Like we could still have other factors.
Yeah.
Remember, flaw questions are top down, so they tend to be more mild. Sorry. So I would have been cautious of that only.
Okay.
D says fails to consider the possibility that one effect of a regulation would be offset by other effects.
Mm. That's what you predicted, but I didn't.
You didn't see it. That was
I
hard.
didn't
I had
see
to think
it.
about that one to get there. And that's why, so let's have you drill like 8 flaw questions a day. And I
Okay.
really want you to work on, if you drill, you have the key part of you drilling is you need to be making your prediction.
Okay.
So then D says, oh sorry, CE says concludes that every, so once again, really strong, every regulation in a set will have the same effects as a set of regulations as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I see it now. Like, no, they're not. They're not really saying that.
On flaw questions, I really want you to work on crossing off wrong answer choices too.
Okay.
Because like this, I honestly had this